might say that I'm a loner, but I just call it being free.
Hey everyone, I'm Calvin with Southern Country Living.
And I'm Marie.
We hope everyone's having a great day. Here in Northwest Georgia for us, we're right in the middle of a rainstorm right this minute. I don't think there'll be any thunder and lightning, but it's just a lot of rain, isn't it, Marie?
Yeah.
But today we wanted to do our question and answer video. And last Sunday, y'all submitted quite a few questions for us. And I'm going to cross my leg here, and hopefully it won't interfere with nothing. But a lot of people did ask the same questions. So I went through and I made a list of all the questions, and we're going to get started and go through them. Marie, we've done this before, and most of the time it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, first question. And I didn't write down who submitted all the questions, so I'm just going to do the question. But several people asked, does Marie drive?
Marie has driver's license, but Marie does not drive currently because of an underlying medical issue that I have. And Kevin's retired, so he drives mostly everywhere. But I know how to drive, and I can drive when I need to. But for safety purposes, I just don't do it as much.
And over, say, the last year, you've drove 2 or 3 times just driving around to the neighborhood and to the store and things like that.
Yes.
Marie can drive, but she don't do it on a regular basis. Okay. Marie, this next question is, it's a good one. It may be fun to answer. What vocation would you have wanted?
Okay, we come from a teaching family, and so my daughter's a teacher, and her daughter's a teacher, and then I have a granddaughter that's a teacher, and so I would probably want to be like a elementary school teacher, but out of everything that I've done, I most always enjoyed being a stay-at-home mom. That's where I got the most gratification out of. I love children, and I especially love my children, and so I like to take care of them and be there for them. And I was able to do it. I know not everyone is able to, but that's just what I felt like I was called to, was to be a stay-at-home mom. And I was glad for the opportunity to be able to do it.
Okay, and for my answer to that question, when I was in high school, I always wanted to be able to work for my own self and have my own business and control my own destiny, basically. And that's actually what ended up happening. Now, during my years in high school, the business that I thought I would end up with, I didn't end up with that. But what I did end up with, I liked it and was more satisfied. And although it never made us rich, but it kept us a good living all these years, didn't it, Marie?
Yeah.
And some of the other questions, we'll talk about that as we go on. Okay, Marie, next question. Did you want more kids?
At that particular time, I come from a family that had 4, and it takes a lot of money to raise 4 children. And so because of my health issues, the doctor decided it for me. He said I should only have 2 and no more, and so that's what I...
Okay, we had a little surprise guest to come to the front door, so we had to stop for just a minute. But Marie, you just got through saying, that we had 2 children, and I'm very proud of both of our children, and we couldn't have any more. 2 was it.
Yeah.
And so, but if we probably could have, we would have probably had more. But since the doctor recommended just to stop at 2, that's where we stopped. Okay, Marie, this next question is real easy. Why don't you get a pet?
Well, first of all, I have allergies, and then also pet bills sometimes can run up high, and it's hard nowadays to even afford insurance, and it's also hard to go on vacations and different things when you have pets. Although I love pets, I like when they come to my house and visit. They're not my pets, and so when they get through visiting me, they can go back to their owner. But as far as loving pets, I really do. I had a cat that took up at my house once, and then when she passed away, it was very hard on me to see her go. A lot of you remember in our videos, her name was Angel, and she was actually my grandson's pet, and she'd come down and visit me while I was cooking lots of times at the sliding glass doors, and looking at me while I was cooking. And then when I finished cooking, I would sit out there and play with her in the evening and all. But usually I do have some allergies to pets, so that's just a few of the reasons.
Okay. Marie, next question. What did Calvin do for work? So I guess I get to answer that one, don't I?
Did you really work?
Sometimes I call it work.
Calvin did several things when we were in high school. He worked at textile mills after he got off from school, which, if any of you have ever worked in a textile mill, you know how hard and labor intensive it was. He did that plus going to school. And then he always wanted his own business. So after high school, he did work a little while in textile industry, but then he got into other things, and he wanted his own business, and so he got into all right, I'll let Calvin explain what he got into.
Okay. Well, primarily I was in the cable TV industry, and that branched off into the satellite TV industry. And after working about 10 years for the local cable company here in Rome, where we lived, that's when I went into contracting, and we had dealt with a lot of contractors. I dealt with them directly, and so I found out that they were making a lot more money than we were working for the company. And so I ended up going into contracting and basically had my own business contracting with cable TV. And then when satellite TV started getting popular, I just spread into that, and he just kept going. When the movie rentals started getting popular, I decided to start renting movies, and we already had a store where I was selling satellite dishes, and we started renting movies. And next thing I know, satellite store died out for the time being, and we had a video store, and that video store was our primary business for 13 years, I believe, wasn't it, Marie?
Yeah,
and,
we had several stores in our community.
Yeah, and the name of the store was Marie's Video. So if you live back here during those years of around 83 to about 95 to 98, during that time period, out in Silver Creek, we had the only video store in Silver Creek, and it was called Marie's Video. We also had a store over in Lindale, Georgia, that was called Marie's Video number 2. And then we had a video store down in Cedartown that was called Marie's Video number 3.
And we also had videos in the Harvey
convenience store.
Yeah, Harvey's convenience stores.
Yeah, those
Harvest convenience.
Hungry Harvey's.
Okay.
There was
Hungry Harvey's. Okay.
Yeah, there was a chain of convenience stores, and actually my primary building, I leased it from them, and he asked me about putting movies in his convenience stores. So we had about 8 or 10 convenience stores all over this east side of Georgia that we had movies in that we rented out also. And of course, the movie business was good business, and it kept us going. We had a lot of fun, a lot of freedom, and we really enjoyed it. But it was like a trend, it started to die down and go out. And so as it faded out, I knew that something had to be done. We had to change businesses.
Right.
And so we did change businesses. Well, I shouldn't say we changed businesses, but I just evolved into something else.
Yeah.
And so ended up I sold used cars for about 5 years, I believe it was. And just about lost everything we had selling used cars, didn't I, Marie?
The economy went south.
Yeah, it was just...
so that cost some of it.
Yes, it was a pretty tough time selling used cars because everybody wanted you to finance it for them. And when you finance cars, you're tying a lot of money up into something for somebody else to be driving and tearing up. And so when we quit that business, I think that I was around $135,000 in debt when I quit. And I figured I better quit before it got worse, didn't I, Marie? And so I went back into contracting, and I contracted with satellite TV, primarily with Dish Network. And I stayed with the contracting for Dish Network until I retired. So that's what I did. And then now my business in a way is we do YouTube. And we didn't do it until after I'd been retired. Actually, it was after you had cancer, and I was at home helping take care of you, and I was looking for a way to make just a little extra money. And next thing I know, my grandson Michael, he told me about YouTube and said, you ought to try that. So here we are. And we like it. It's a lot of fun. It does make us some extra money. You see us going out shopping and going out eating and having a lot of fun that we wouldn't get to do this if we didn't have the YouTube, would we, Marie?
I know. In fact, we never did anything like this before YouTube because we lived from paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, it was always tight.
Yes.
Even though we were self-employed.
And we had all of our needs supplied, and, so that really helped.
Yeah. Even though we were self-employed, it was still tight. Being self-employed is not the easiest thing you've ever done. I've talked to quite a few of the viewers that were self-employed, and it's very hard to make a living and to survive if you got your own business, because there's so much you have to take care of. But generally, I just tell people that I was self-employed for about 30-something years until I retired. And I don't go into details, but I'll go ahead and give y'all a few more of the details.
Yeah, and like I said, we had our needs met and everything, but and then we had some of our wants too, but mostly we never got to do the things that we do now, and we work very hard to do the things that we do now. It's fun, and it's also it gives us something to do in our retirement years, but it's a full-time part-time job, if that makes any sense. But anyway, we could survive without YouTube, and that's how we've always wanted to live, is not to depend on YouTube, because you never know about how things can go in the future or anything like that. And so that's just the way that we do. We don't want to have to depend on any money that we make in our YouTube business, or whatever you want to call it, our YouTube job, being our main source of income.
Okay, Marie. You ready for the next question?
Okay.
What is your favorite hobbies?
My favorite hobbies? Well, before I got older, I had quite a few. I love to paint. I love to read. When I say paint, I don't mean houses. I mean actual art. I like to do stuff like that. I like to read. I like to ride bicycles. What else did I like to do? I like to cook.
You like to do poetry?
Yes, I wrote poetry and I wrote some short stories. And I did quite a bit of stuff just like that. But when my eyes started getting weaker, I cut out quite a bit of those kind of things. I don't do them so much now, but every once in a while I might sketch something, but I'm no artist, but it's just for fun and I enjoy it.
Okay, and for me, I guess my biggest hobby was I was a workaholic.
That's true. Kevin did work, but he had to because we were a one-income family, and he liked it that way better than he did for me working.
Yeah.
On the occasions that I did work, he one time he even said, "I'll pay you to stay at home," and it was because the family, our family operated better in when I was a stay-at-home mama or mom.
Okay, and then, okay, next question. Marie, can you name 3 books that influenced you the most?
Let's see.
I know what number 1 is.
What?
The Bible.
Yes, definitely the Bible, and then also I like to read inspirational books, and I love The Hiding Place. Also, I liked Joni Erickson's book on how she managed with her illness. And let's see. And also, I liked a book called Angelus Ashes. And the person that wrote that was Frank McCourt. And I liked, here's my book right here. It's completely worn out. I really enjoyed this book. It showed me what true poverty was and the adversities that this family went through, and so it made me appreciate what I had when I read this book. And it talked about all the hardships that he went through in Ireland, and so that was really what I got out of the book mostly, was how to appreciate what I have. And so that was one of my books that I liked. I also like biographies, and I also like my first book that I ever read was about Joan of Arc. And so I was really enthralled with her life. And so I've read so many books. I have like a whole barn full of books, and I give a whole bunch of them away because I was just accumulating too many of them. But I really don't have a favorite author. But but my mostly books that I like to read mostly are inspirational ones.
Okay, Marie. Next question. You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. Are there woods out back, and do you ever sit outside?
Yeah, there are woods out back, but they're dwindling down more and more by the new owners that have been cutting some of the trees down and all. But I do sit out sometimes, but not as much as I used to. For one thing, mosquitoes. When I get bit by a mosquito, at least a big whip, wasps, bumblebees. Nature can be cruel sometimes, but I love to sit out when the bugs are far away. But when I do sit out, I usually sit in my carport, and I really enjoy the time that me and Kevin sit out there and reminisce about different things going on.
Okay. Next question. This two-part question. Where do you want to go on vacation? That's the first part. Mm-hmm. And second part is, what was your favorite vacation?
Oh, okay. Where I want to go on vacation is probably to Florida, but where I'm going to go on vacation is just going to be like something that is more easier for us to handle. Long drives now are not what we enjoy since we've gotten a little older. And what was my favorite vacation was when we went to Orlando, to Disney Land or World, whichever it's called. I always get those two messed up, and so I'm not going to pretend that I'm not older and I don't get things messed up sometimes. But anyway, we had a great time when we went there, and our children did, and so it's been a long time ago, but that's my most memorable one. And we went to several different places in Florida that year. I remember when we went to, let's see, I believe it was Tampa, where you can go out on the beach and drive your car. Is that right?
No, that was Daytona.
Okay, Daytona. Okay, so that was one thing that I remembered, because I kept wondering if we were going to get stuck out on the beach.
Yeah.
But we have really traveled quite a bit, really.
I remember I got blistered so bad on that particular trip. My left leg from driving, the sun was coming through the window, hitting my left leg, and I was wearing shorts, and I got blistered so bad it hurt. Okay. Next question. If you want to, I'll answer this and give you a little break. This is an easy one. What children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren do we have? And so I'm going to give you a good breakdown, because we get this question a lot, and quite a few people ask this. We have 2 children. Our first child was a boy. His name is Lamar. And Lamar, he is married to Tara. And Lamar and Tara have 3 children that are our grandchildren. The oldest one is Michael. And then the next one is Kristen. And then the youngest one is Holly. Okay? Then that's our grandchildren through Lamar. And then Michael has 3 children that are our great-grandchildren. Their names are Eli, Briar Rose, and Isaiah. And sometimes we call him Chris, because his name is Christopher Isaiah. And so, but he prefers to be called Isaiah. So that's the children on Lamar's side. Our second child was Cynthia. And Cynthia has 1 daughter. Her name is Kimberly. Oh, and Cynthia is married to Jason. And Cynthia has 1 daughter. Her name is Kimberly. And Kimberly has 2 daughters. That is Addison and Avery. And Addison and Avery are our 2 great-grandchildren. So we have a total of 5 great-grandchildren, 4 grandchildren, and 2 children. And so, and I know it's hard to remember all those, and but we can remember them, can't we, Marie? But a lot of people ask that question.
I don't remember a lot of things.
And when we're talking about Addison or Avery or Eli, Briar or Isaiah, we can be talking about either one of our great-grandchildren, and sometimes we'll refer to them and we'll call them our grandchildren. Yeah. And I think that's just normal to do that. Okay, next question. Marie, let's see. I don't know if I should answer this or you, but I'll let you try it, okay? What was our first date meal?
Our first date meal. What was our first date meal? Well, on our budget, I would say fast food hamburger joint. And where we always hung out was Andy's on, let's see.
On Avenue C.
Yeah, we hung out at that, I think that's is it torn down now?
Yeah, it's torn down now. Yeah.
And we had our favorite spot that we sat at. And we always ordered I think it was called a Big Boy, where they had the huge...
Yeah, it's a big hamburger, Andy's Delight Burger.
Yeah. And we also, I would order lemon sours there.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed those.
Yeah. And we went there quite a few times. And I was thinking as I was thinking about this question, during the time that you and I dated for 2.5 years, I don't recall us ever going to a restaurant and going inside to eat. Do you recall that?
No.
No.
Not even after we were married, really.
Yeah, even after we was married.
Because it took everything we had just to break even.
It was several years before we started going out eating on a regular basis. And I guess the first thing I'm going to remember was the very first contracting job that we had. You and I started going to the steakhouse up there, and the kids made the comment, said we love it, said we're going to the steakhouse every weekend.
Was its name Bonanza or?
I believe it was the Bonanza Steakhouse.
Yeah.
And
we went just about every night, and for someone that wasn't used to that, we really liked it.
We went pretty regular.
Right.
But I had went from making enough money to barely survive week to week to making about 3 times what we had been making.
Right.
And so it was a big difference for us.
Yeah.
And so we enjoyed it when it first
But we've
happened.
always paid our bills and did any of that before we had any recreation.
Oh, yeah. That came first.
Right.
Okay. Next question, Marie. This is an easy one. Marie, what is your favorite scent?
I love honeysuckles. I just love the smell of them. I can walk out in my backyard and smell honeysuckles. I like anything that smells like honeysuckles. That's my favorite scent.
I love vanilla and I love strawberry. Those are my 2 flavors that I love to smell. Next question, we sort of already covered this a little bit, but next question was, do we go on vacations?
Yeah, we do pretty much. We've always went on vacations throughout our marriage, but we didn't go on one every year. It depended on what was going on, didn't it?
Yeah.
Whether we had the finances to or not. But we have actually, I'll let you tell where all we've been. We've actually been to quite a few places.
Well, I think that's one of the next questions was, have we ever been out of the country? And so on one vacation we took when we were young with both of our children, we went out to Alamogordo, New Mexico. And so the people live out there, naturally they know exactly where that is. And we went out there and spent some time. And while we were there, we went down into Mexico, into the town of Juarez, Mexico.
Yeah, that was an experience.
That was an experience. And on our way going out there, as we were driving toward Texas, we were in a town called Big Springs, Texas. And
the traffic was horrendous.
Yeah, we was on the interstate going out through Big Springs, Texas, and we got hit from the back by a tractor-trailer truck that was hauling a truckload of cows. And it tore our car up pretty bad, but it was still drivable. So we continued to drive. We did have to go to the emergency room and have Marie checked out because her neck was hurting her.
Right.
And so, but anyway, we continued our trip that evening and we made it on into New Mexico that night. We got there a lot later than we expected to, but we made it.
Yes, I remember I enjoyed my trip, but I had a sore neck for several days.
Yeah, so that was an experience in its own self. But that was one trip. And then the other, we've been to Florida several times. We've been up to the Smokies several times through the years. We've been to Myrtle Beach.
Hold on just a minute. I want to say something about that. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I need to say this. Calvin actually seen the truck and he knew that he was not going to be able to stop. So what he did was he gave it more gas to try to get out of the truck's impact. And if he hadn't have done that, I had 2 children in the back seat, that it could have been a very serious, even worse than what it was. But because you did that, that saved us, really.
I forgot about that, but I did.
Yeah.
I looked in my mirror and see him coming. I floored it and tried to get out of the way. And that helped some.
Yeah, I just thought that it was very something that I'm thankful that you had the insight to do.
Yeah. And so on our traveling, like I said, we've been to Florida, we've been to Myrtle Beach, been to Smokies, we've been to Charleston. All those were different vacation trips. But during the time that I was in the Army and when we were stationed in Maryland, we traveled all the way up the East Coast to Maryland a couple of times.
To New
But
York,
we also went on up to New York and went to New York City.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. And so that's the areas that we've been to.
We've been out to a lot of the states out west.
Yeah.
But we've never been to California, and we have a lot of viewers from California, and we really appreciate y'all.
I'd love to make a trip to California.
Right.
And we might do it someday. Who knows? Okay.
I doubt it because we don't even want to go to Florida, and we definitely don't want to get on the airplane. So we
Okay.
might just have to watch YouTube videos of all of you that go to California.
That's the next best thing. If you can't make a trip to California, watch the YouTube videos of people that do.
Right.
Okay. Next question. Have we ever collaborated with other YouTube channels? Yes, we have several times. We did several collaborations with Fallon over at Mouse Family TV, and she used to do it every year, called a fall collaboration, and I think we did it 2 or 3 years, didn't we, Marie? And then back when we were getting started in earlier times, we did our own collaborations, and we had about 10 or 15 channels that collaborated with us, didn't we, Marie? And we just hadn't done it in a long time, but yes, we have done that before. Next question, how tall are we? I'm 6 foot exactly.
I'm 5'2.5", and I throw that half in there because I want to be 5'3", but if I say I'm 5'3", I'll be telling a story.
Okay. Next question was, will we film places like the aquarium or the zoo?
Only if we go with our grandchildren sometime or go with their family or something other like that. Me and Calvin, probably that would be the only way that we would do that, right?
Yeah, and it's not on my radar to even want to go to the aquarium or the zoo. I went to the zoo when I was young, but I don't have any desire to go to the zoo.
That used to be one of the things that my dad used. This is a fond memory of him. I lived in Atlanta part of my childhood, and that was one of the things that I remember about my daddy most was he always took us to the zoo and at Grants Park. And back then, it was. I remember all of the places where they kept the animals, the tigers, and different places like that. They were air conditioned inside, and when you would walk in Grants Park to one place to the other, and you'd walk in that air condition, that really made a difference. And so nowadays, I think all the animals in a lot of the parks are just out in the air. There's no air conditioning like it was back in the good old days, unless I'm just going to the wrong parks. But also. That was, like I said, a fond memory, and I remember, I'm not going to say the name of this animal, but it was a joke around the family. It was named after someone in the family, and so they would always say, let's go see the baboon that's named, so-and-so, and everybody always got a big laugh out of that.
Okay, let's see. Next question here. Okay. Do we take requests for recipes? We don't take requests for recipes, but occasionally people do recommend that we try one of their recipes, and we do occasionally, but for the most part, the recipes that Marie does in her cooking videos are recipes that relate to something that we love to eat our own self.
Or it relates to what we have in our pantry.
Yeah. And things that we normally cook anyway. Okay, and then next question. When we're doing our videos, they want to know, is that a sliding glass door that's on the left-hand side of the screen? And yes, it is. It's a double sliding glass door that goes out to our backyard. Next question, do we go on cruises? No, we've never been on one, and I don't have any desire to go on a cruise.
No, I watch a lot of YouTube videos where people are on those cruises, and sometimes the weather is not favorable for the cruise ship because all the furniture will go down one side and then it'll go back to the other side. So that right there dissuaded me from going on cruise vacations. I don't care about being in that kind of situation.
No. Okay. Next question. What are the magnets on the refrigerator? What do they represent? And those are just magnets that viewers have sent us over the years. Maybe one or two are ones that we bought. I know the one from Bucky's, we bought it. But a lot of them are magnets with the Bible verses on them and things like that people have sent us.
And then we have one that's on there that a viewer sent us that tells us what temperature to cook different things in the air fryer, which that was very helpful. I think our subscriber that sent that.
Okay. And then the next question was, talk about the video store. Well, we've already talked about that just a few minutes ago, but we did have a video store. The name of it was Marie's Video. We ran it for 13 years. During that time that we had the video store, inside the video store, we had a little section set up where our son, he sold skateboards and skateboard equipment for a couple of years. We also sold baseball cards in there. And then
satellites.
Yeah, we started off selling satellites and turned it into a video store.
I did that while Calvin installed them. I sold Unidens and Drakes, and I was there mainly doing that. And then I mainly also rented out the movies when we first started. And so that's what I did. I always helped Calvin in the businesses when I could, when I wasn't raising our children or grandchildren.
Yeah. And then the last 2 or 3 years that we ran the video store, we took one section of the store and turned it into 3 different rooms, and we put 3 tanning beds in there. And so during the summer, we had a big business with people coming to tanning beds, didn't we?
We did.
We had several employees that worked for us. That's been a lot of years ago, so it's hard for me to remember every single detail about it, but it was a good business for a while there, wasn't it, Marie?
It was.
Okay. Next question. Marie, the question is, what is the funniest experience you've ever gone through, and what is the most challenging experience you've ever gone through?
What is the... Oh, I know.
I got something good. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Y'all are asking, and one of the questions, does Marie drive? So the funniest experience that I remember is, I was learning how to drive, and so I was backing up, and Calvin says, "Why are you on my foot?" And I says, "Oh no," I said, "I'm sorry." I said, "But why did you have your foot under my tire?" And so at that time, it was just you had to been there to experience the whole deal. But I was thinking, Calvin was thinking, that I was never going to learn how to drive going like this, and I was thinking that it was all his fault because he had his foot under the tire.
Okay.
So regardless of which way it was, that's my first. That's not my first learning experience with learning how to drive, but that's one of them.
And if you want to hear the whole story, go watch the video that we did for our 50th wedding anniversary. And Marie's brother talks in that video, and he was there when that happened, and he tells the story. Now he tells it a little stronger than that, and so he makes it really funny. But if you want to go watch that video, I'll put you a link in this one so you can just click on that link and go watch our 50th anniversary.
But just think about it. Here I was backing up, and you had your foot under my tire. It was more your fault than it was mine.
Okay. So it was funny, wasn't it? Okay.
It was then, but it wasn't too funny to you. But I don't
It
guess.
wasn't funny when it happened, but it's funny to talk about it later.
Right.
Another story that we like to tell occasionally, and it's more stupid than it is funny, but I still like it. But when we were first married, our very first year for Thanksgiving, and I was in the service, and I was stationed in Aberdeen, Maryland, and we had rented a cottage up there off base, and Marie got to come up, and we were living there in Aberdeen, Maryland. So we had went over to the store, and we had bought us a turkey, and we bought everything to have a little Thanksgiving dinner there by ourselves.
Over at the commissary.
Yeah. And so we cooked that turkey and dressed him, and it was a great meal. We enjoyed that was our first Thanksgiving. And but after we cooked it and as we was eating it, cutting open everything, we discovered a plastic bag in there that had all the giblets in it. And so we did not know you're supposed to remove the giblets.
No. In fact, we washed the turkey and everything and patted it dry and everything, but we still missed the giblets in it.
We didn't know about that, did we? And I don't know how we found out other than finding them.
Yeah.
When we talked to somebody, they said, oh, no, you're supposed to take those out. So that was our first experience with cooking a turkey. And I bet that there's probably someone else out there that watches our channel that had that same thing happen when they were young.
Yeah.
If you did, be sure you comment on it.
Right.
Let us know. Okay, and then what is your most challenging experience, Marie? That question, without a doubt, for me and probably for you too, was us going through cancer.
Yeah.
Marie went through cancer in the year 2015. And I went through cancer in the year 2020. Was it 22 or 23? 22, wasn't it? 2022. Yeah. And so it's been 3 years for Marie. It's been 9 years for you. Excuse me, I said that wrong. It's been 3 years for me since I went through the surgery, or almost 3. But for you, it'd be 10 years in September of this year.
Yeah.
And so I'm still the side effects, the results, or whatever you want to call it, I'm still dealing with them every single day. And I know Marie has problems that she deals with every single day that's directly related to the cancer.
Right.
And so it changes your body, it changes your whole life.
But we're glad to be alive, aren't we?
We are. It changes your outlook on life, and it makes you appreciate each and every single day, and it makes you appreciate each and every single event that happens in your life.
It does. It makes you appreciate family too.
But it is challenging. I can see why a lot of people give up when they have cancer, because it is hard, isn't it, Marie?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you have a good positive attitude, it helps. I try to keep I try to keep that good positive attitude. There were days that I didn't have such a great attitude, but then I would snap out of it and be very positive. Okay. But it's just a hard thing to go through.
Yeah. Next question was, what states and countries have we been to? And without calling all the states off, we went all the way up to New York on the East Coast, and then we've been out to New Mexico on the southern side. And then the country of Mexico is the only other one we've been to besides the United States.
Is that the southern or western?
Southern side of the United States.
Okay, I always think of it.
Southwest.
Yeah, out west.
Yeah, it's the southern border. Yeah.
Okay.
we've never been to Canada. We would have liked to have made a trip to Canada, wouldn't we?
Yes, but
We always wanted to go to Maine, and we never did quite make it to Maine, did we?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I've always wanted to go to Canada.
Okay. Next question was, do we watch any TV shows or movies?
Not really. We mostly just watch YouTube. We're very frugal. We don't even have cable TV.
Not anymore.
Y'all may not think we're frugal because we eat out a lot, but you know we're elderly now, and we do travel, but we don't travel a lot, and that's just it's just part of our entertainment, and so that's what we do.
Yeah, we used to watch a lot of good old TV shows, and we can talk about them a lot. But the new shows, there's nothing that I care to watch right now.
Yeah.
And then as far as movies, we went to the theater a couple of times a couple of years ago, but there's just not a lot of TV shows, a lot of movies that we want to go see anymore.
No, and yeah, that's...
We watch a few Hallmark movies on TV, but that's about it. Okay, Marie. This question has been asked 100 times. What do you do what is your facial care procedure? A lot of people want you to make a video about doing it, and I know you don't want to do that.
No.
But tell everyone what your basic thing is you do for your face.
I just, I wash it every night before I go to bed, and then I just put moisturizer on, and I have several different moisturizers that I use. I don't use one all the time. I change it up occasionally, and that's about it.
That's it. And
I do try to drink water to stay hydrated, but sometimes I don't drink enough water to keep myself hydrated, so
But Marie has always put some type of moisturizer on her face every single night.
And I mainly used now it's oil of Olay, and that's what
and she tells me, she said, Calvin, you should be doing what I'm doing. But I don't. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, go ahead if you got something finished.
Calvin, when he gets sleepy, he just likes to go to bed. He don't want to put no moisturizer on. I know, Calvin. I know you probably even think it's sissy to put it on. But it's not. It's a good thing.
That's typical man, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, this is actually the last question, and it's a good question. On a typical day, when we have nothing planned, what do we do on a typical day?
I'm not one to lie around in my nightgown or anything like that when the sun comes up. I always get dressed, and then I take my vitamins, and I also make up my bed. I throw a load of clothes in the wash machine. Me and Calvin eat breakfast, and then if I tidy up the house, and that's about it. Sometimes I will take one room at a time. Like I'll take the kitchen and I'll sweep and mop that room, and then I'll wait another day. Used to, I did a whole house in one day, but not anymore. But then the next day I'll do another room till I get around to each room, and then I'll start back over and do it again. And so I always try to follow Fly Lady's routines, but I don't do it faithfully. But even though not doing it faithfully, it keeps my house presentable enough for when someone comes up to the door, I can ask them to come in and not be ashamed by just having my routines, like making the bed, putting a load of clothes in the wash machine, cleaning up, straightening up the bathrooms, and that's just basically how I do when I'm not here. And then I will throw something in the crock pot because in the summertime, I really don't like turning on the oven. We do have air conditioning, but the house will still get warm. But I like easy, quick meals now, where I used to cook all the time and cook a lot. But that's my routines.
Well, for the most part, there's very few days that we don't have anything planned, because it seems like we've always got somewhere we got to go, or we've got doctor's appointments or something that we have to do. And so it keeps us pretty busy almost every day. But there'll be occasional days that especially this last couple of years, I wake up and I just don't feel good enough to do what we had already planned to do to start with. And I end up basically taking a day off and don't do anything. But on the days that we don't have anything planned, or either I don't do anything, my primary thing, I love to eat my breakfast first and get that out of the way. And then I like to sit around, watch a little TV, catch up on YouTubes, because we got a few YouTube channels that we like to keep up with, don't we? And then I like to get on my computer, and you probably can't see it in the screen, but my computer's right here. There's my mouse right there. And I put that mouse right here on the arm of the chair, and I can do what I need to do. But basically, I like to keep up with what I call my bookkeeping. I have to keep up with how everything's going, don't I, Marie? So that's our days when we don't have anything planned. Now, 3 years ago, if we didn't have anything planned, I'd be outside working. There was always something around the house that I was always doing. But those days have changed, and I have to put a lot of things off. I can't do them like I used to. And a lot of the bigger jobs, I'm having to get someone else to do them for me. And that's, as you get older, that tends to be what happens, don't it? We're both 72 years old right now, aren't we, Marie?
Yeah.
And I'll be 73 this summer. Marie, that was all the questions that we had. We had a lot of good questions this time, didn't we? We had some different questions than what we've had before in the past. And like I said before, as you get older, the answers to the questions may change because we think differently, don't we?
Right.
And but we really enjoy doing our YouTube channel. We enjoy talking to you.
Yeah.
I think our most favorite video that we do is our Sunday chat. We do that once a week. And doing this question answer has been a lot of fun. We probably said some things that we wished we hadn't said. And we had an interruption. We had doorbell ring one time.
Our great-grandchildren actually came over.
Yeah, and so we had to stop for a few minutes during the middle of this, and then we recorded for so long the battery went dead and I had to change the battery. So there'll be a couple of edits in there for that to, clear that up. But other than that, I enjoyed doing the question and answer, didn't you, Marie?
I do.
I watched one channel, and I believe they're doing a question and answer video every single month. Because every time I turn around, they're doing that video. And we don't want to do it that often, but it's fun to do it at least once a year, isn't it, Marie? And we love doing our videos where we go shopping. And that's actually become my second favorite video, is going shopping, going prepping and shopping. And then, of course, we love to do cooking videos. And the way we do it, when Marie feels good, Marie does a cooking video. If Marie don't feel good, and I do, then I'll do a cooking video. If we both feel real good at the same time, we'll do it together, won't we?
Right.
And if neither one of us feels good, we just don't do one.
And we work together also when he's doing a cooking video, and we say we'll be back. One of us is either washing dishes or cleaning up.
We are always
if we're not
doing that.
actually doing the cooking video.
Yeah, if Marie's doing the cooking, to give her a little break, I'll go over and try to straighten up. And she'll do the same thing for me. It gives me a chance to go sit down for a minute, and then she'll go wash the dishes and clean up the area.
Right.
So we work together on everything. But we really appreciate everyone watching. I hope you enjoyed this question and answer video. It's probably going to be long. It seems like it's lasted a while, don't it? But I'll get it all together and we're going to show it to you on Thursday morning. So, Marie, you have anything else you want to add to it?
Not really. I just hope everyone has a great day. And so if Calvin doesn't have anything to add, y'all do what you love and love what you do. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
We were young and we were free and running, never bothered about what could be coming. Every day we danced and life was smiling. We were young and drunk in love. A few years later I have started thinking, if it's just love in every glass I'm drinking, we're like one and without you I'm sinking. I'm always shining next to you. Oh, I got you, there's no reason to chasing pavement on my own, 'cause you're here to stay every night and day. I'm delighted 'cause I got you.
I have always been afraid of changes, but you show me life is full of faces. Sometimes clouds got in our favorite places, but we were young and unaware.
Oh, I got you, there's no reason to chasing pavement on my own, 'cause you're here to stay every night.